Kids for Love. It's a project, a mission, and a radio show. Join Deborah Beauvais as she highlights her young co-hosts. Listen to their inspirational stories in starting nonprofits and their life work to help other kids in need. We'll learn from these conscious kids how serving others can heal our own lives while spreading love to the masses. We invite you to join in for spirited conversation filled with creative ideas and possibilities to start your own mission. Let's raise the bar together and cultivate a kinder world by getting inspired to help others in need. Kids for Love Project, celebrating kids that empower others.
Welcome, everyone, to the Kids for Love Project and radio show. I'm Deborah Beauvais, owner and founder of the Dream Vision 7 radio network. We're a Boston-based, holistic, syndicated internet radio station with all the bells and whistles. You can listen in your cars, online, with your mobile apps. You can listen in Europe, wherever you are. That's the beauty of internet these days. And you can even ask Alexa. Well, if you're tuning in for the first time, the Kids for Love Project radio show is all about elevating and all these wonderful, amazing kids. Some of these kids have started at 6 years old with the nonprofit. Maybe they're a little older, but it's anyone that is making a difference in people's lives. And so we have Bella Manchester, who is a 16-year-old junior high school student. She has written the original song that we're going to hear a little later and performed it, both piano and vocals. And we also have Caragan Olles, and she is the co-founder of Bright Young Dyslexics .org with her brother Carter. And so we're going to be talking with Caragan a little bit later, so stay with us because she's going to be sharing what she has done, which is phenomenal. So first with Bella, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And I'd like to just mention that you're the daughter of Stephen Manchester, who is a well-known author in this area and beyond. And so we can tell that the talent just overflows into the kids. So, well, let me ask you, Bella. I know you have siblings. Are they creative and artistic as well?
Yes, my brothers are both into writing as well. I like to write as well. But yeah, they're into film and radio, and my sister is an amazing athlete and a nurse. So we've all got little tricks up our sleeves, I guess.
Wow, that's great. That's great because, that's what really makes us happy is when we're in our creative space. And that's really one of the main reasons that we're here on Earth, I believe, is to use our creative gifts and make a difference in the world, make our stamp on the world. So, well, let me ask you, when did you start having an interest in writing songs and actually singing?
Yeah, so all of my life, ever since I was 2 years old, I've been a part of the performing arts. I've been doing theater and dance since I was a baby, but songwriting specifically came into my life around middle school when, I always say this, when things weren't rainbows and butterflies anymore, and I had to find ways to filter my emotions and feelings, and songwriting just became natural for me, and it was something that was incredibly personal and special about myself that I only shared with specific people in my life. And then the past year, things just kind of changed for me, and I was like, maybe it's time to let this into the world a little bit more.
Yes. So let me ask you, when you were in middle school, did you struggle a little about, did you have value as a young girl? And the reason I'm asking that is because there are so many young girls and women that feel that way.
Yeah, I think at a very young age, I realized that I tend to gravitate towards older people in my life. When people meet me, they always say I'm mature for my age, and I don't know, it was a hard time because it was kind of the first moment where I realized, like, not everyone's good, like, not everyone's nice, and you have to figure out the difference between who you are and who other people are, and not let that get to you, and kind of just be true to who you are and figure it out on the way.
No, well, I would say that you're an old soul because to know that now at 16, I mean, there are many people that are much older that are still trying to figure out who they are. And, I believe that how we do that is to spend a lot of time in nature and really finding out our truth of who we are, what makes us happy, what makes our heart sing. And then when you tap into that, that's how you find the joy and really understanding life, because life can be tough at times.
Extremely, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the song. It's called I'll Go. And so tell us where that came from. Yeah, I know that it came from your vision and your gifts, but how did it all come to be?
Yeah, so I started writing this specific song about a year ago, and what tends to happen with all of my songs is I have so many in my book, but they're all like chopped up and there's pieces and everywhere, and it's kind of like, okay, this one's standing out to me right now. I'm going to spend a couple hours and really work on it. And this one came really natural because I went through my first breakup a few months ago, and I kind of just had like a new sense of life, right? I went through a monumental moment, and it was a way that I could filter how I was feeling. And it turned into something where it was actually about growth. If you listen to the lyrics, yes, there's pain in it, but there's also a lot of self-love and focus on hope and what the future has to hold and who you are as a person rather than who you are with other people.
Wow. You're so, I'm impressed with how articulate and how much depth you have about life. You're welcome. So I have to ask you, is the pandemic with the COVID, is that part of this last year of your growth and what you've learned about yourself? I know with breaking off, that's a whole world of learning. But did the COVID play a piece in that as far as learning about yourself?
100%. I think it's been very eye-opening this past year because I've always thought that I was like an extrovert, and I like was really about other people. And I think the whole, like this last year, I've had to take a step back and realize, you know what, I've put a lot of effort into other people in my life, and I always will, but I need to put a little bit more effort in who I am and spend a little time in finding some of Bella's happiness rather than trying to always make everyone else happy. And it's been really, really hard, but it's also been a very big moment in my life because I'm figuring out who I am and I'm realizing I'm growing up, and that's scary, but it's also really incredible.
Yes, it is. Now, as far as school, have you been learning at home like many? Well, you're in Massachusetts, right? So
so I'm hybrid. Yeah. So right now I'm hybrid, so I stay home 3 days a week, and then I go in 2 days a week. But starting April 12th, we're going back full time, so that's going to be crazy.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I just heard, because I have grandchildren that are going back, but then it's being staggered, I guess. So it is amazing that you have learned so much. Let's do this. Let's play, because your song is so powerful. It's hard to believe that you have written it, and now that we know you have written other songs as well. Let's listen to the song. Bob, can you play it? And your voice is so crystal beautiful. It's just a beautiful voice.
You don't care. I'm crying and you're not there. This emptiness inside my heart. You told me you wouldn't break that apart. So I'll go and I will know what happiness is. 'Cause this wasn't it. 'Cause I'm not here for you anymore. steps through that door. Every broken piece of me became something I'm proud to be. 'Cause if the voice inside said it's alright, I would have never learned to take a flight away from something we knew wasn't meant to be, from something I knew I didn't need for me. So I'll go, and I know that you did your best, I guess, and you learned from the rest, because I needed you and you just wanted me, but I guess that's love and the breaking cost to feel. I'm broken, I'm found, all the pieces laid out on the ground, and I'll cry, because it wasn't meant to be. Now it's just me, and it's just me, and I'm gone, and I was wrong to let you be the only thing my eyes could see. I trusted you, and you knew what to say, until I fell out of love with you. Came from your lips that day. I'm by myself, you don't care. I'm crying and you're not there. This emptiness, I fell apart. You broke your promise, you broke my heart.
Wow. That, I find that amazing. You sound like an artist that's been around for a while and just cutting another single.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, you know what happens with the song, not only with your voice being so touching and beautiful, is that, and I'm sure everyone that's listening, including Bob and Caragan, who's coming up, you make the person feel. And they always talk about when one sings to make the person feel the words, feel the song. And that's what makes people like yourself excel and become more popular, because you've made the person feel about the song.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, it makes 100% sense.
Yeah. So how does Bella feel when you're listening to the song yourself?
It's definitely strange. I go through a lot of different feelings listening to it. Sometimes, it's on my playlist, so it'll come on randomly when I'm driving or something. I'll be like, oh, that's cool. It sounds good right now. And then there'll be other times where I'm like, I really hate this. Please shut it off. But I don't know. Overall, I'm incredibly proud of myself, and it feels amazing to get so much love and support from people, people I don't even know as well. So, and I'm just so glad that it's touching people the way it felt writing it.
Right. And it's really validation when people are supporting you that what your gift is on this earth is singing and bringing that to others and touching every soul that listens to it. So and you should be proud of yourself, Bella, because, and it must be so crazy to listen to it yourself. And wow, and do you realize that, I'm sure you do because you're an old soul, and I can tell you must, but do you realize by writing this song and singing it, it's part of your own healing journey?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so what are your parents? I mean, are they surprised that this all came out of their Bella?
I think so. I think I've been sharing it with them for a while now, especially my dad is always home, so I'm constantly asking him, hey, can you, like, listen to this real quick? Does it sound good? Or, I don't know, those days I'll be crying to him about some sort of drama, and then he'll be like, why don't you write about it? And I'm like, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. For everyone listening, you can buy this song on iTunes, Apple Music, and I'm sure Amazon Music as well. It's produced by distrokid.com.
Yeah.
Did you compose the music as well? I know that you wrote the song and the lyrics. Did you compose it?
Yeah, so
you did?
I have a few. Yeah. So I used to take piano for like years, and if you asked me to play a song, I probably definitely couldn't, but I do chords a lot, and it helps me figure out different songs. But my amazing producer, Jay Carvalho, who's actually my neighbor, he helped me put it together, all the computer stuff, the background guitar part, that part he added in there with the computer. But yeah, the piano and the singing is me. Yeah.
Amazing. So what do you see yourself, what do you want to do now that you know that you have this ability and you've got these other songs written? What do you see in your life? What do you want to do?
That's a great question. Right now, I'm really just trying to be happy in whatever way that is. So I'm not trying to put pressure on myself to put out songs, and I have songs ready, but I'm just going to let time and life go, and if it feels right in the moment, I'm definitely going to do it. And I've been really questioning what my future holds in college, like everything right now. It's scary, but I'm really excited. I just don't want to put myself in a corner. That's all I'm trying to do right now, whether that's going to school for performing arts or going to school for communications or going to school for who knows what. I'm just trying to be happy. That's all.
Right. Well, that's the first and foremost. You spoke earlier about really caring about other people and doing probably for them first before you think about yourself. But you do learn that you come first. Even when you later on, if you decide to have a family, you do come first. And there's no one else that can, take care of you. You're the only one that can nurture yourself and eat properly and sleep when you need it and just nurture the soul and the body. And part of that is actually being able to say no to some things, saying no in a kind way. And it might be no for now, but it's very powerful, that no is. So how do you feel about that?
I've just always been really connected to people, and I've put 100% of myself into making someone else smile or someone laugh, and like that's how I feel good. And I've been slowly trying to figure out what can I do to be, make myself happy. Maybe things make me uncomfortable, or maybe things I don't want to do certain things, and I'm not going to just do it because someone else wants me to do it. And I really just want to find that happiness for myself and find things that put a smile on my face. And if I get to put smiles on other people's faces along the way, that's incredible. And I always will try to do that. But I'm really trying to put myself first a little bit more lately.
Yes, perfect. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. So I do have to ask you, has American Idol or The Voice, has that appeared in your brain or in your mind at all?
Yeah, I've definitely thought about it. Ever since I was like younger too. I've done theater for a long time, and musicals, I've always done them, and that's kind of how I figured out, hey, like singing is my thing. I've been asked that question a lot, and we haven't yet to audition, but maybe I will.
Maybe you will. Yes, you never know. Either one would be phenomenal. Even if it becomes the experience itself.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So are you, with this song that has been released, I'll Go, it was released in February.
Yeah,
Have you, and I know the COVID is around, but things are lifting. Are you singing anywhere?
Yeah, that's actually one of the next steps for me. I definitely want to, like, locally and sing at, like, certain restaurants and all that stuff, do covers and also do some of my stuff. But, yeah, I think that'll be a great, great way to, you know, show the world what I love, which is singing, and find some happiness in it. And I think that'd be great.
Yes. Yes. So, I mean, I see that coming up for you. And again, you can, like you said earlier, you can make your choices as you go along on what you feel comfortable and when you want to spread your wings and when you want to kind of step back. And that's the beauty of knowing when you know who you are and honoring who you are. That's the best way to live life.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we only have a few more minutes. What would you like to leave the listeners with?
I think I would like to leave off saying pain is temporary, and if you find something that you really love and that makes you happy, then you should do it, no matter what others say or no matter what you are saying to yourself. Your heart knows what it wants, and you need to just do what makes you happy. And in the pain, I promise you that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and you will figure it out.
Amazing. You're incredible, Bella. You're incredible. 16 years old. Wow. Wow. Just to let that simmer in one's mind of the words you just shared. That's really phenomenal. So again, your song is called I'll Go, and it can be purchased on iTunes, Apple Music.
And it's also free on YouTube as well. So if you don't want...
Yes, people want to buy it. I mean, how can they support you at this juncture?
Anything, in any way. Even if you told the person on the side of you right now, hey, you want to check out this song real quick? I can play it for you right now. Anything. I'm good with whatever. But, just the love and support's amazing.
Okay, well, I think everyone should have the song, even though they can listen to it on YouTube. And we should, everyone should listen to it on YouTube, and you'll want to have it. You'll want to have it so you can put it in your playlist and play it wherever you are. And we are, as I shared with your dad, because we have Divine Music Sundays, we're going to add your I'll Go to our rotation. So Sundays the music will play and people will hear it that way. And then we'll also set... Isn't it awesome? Yeah, because you never know. We've had people reach out to different artists, so you just never know. But I'd love to play a part in helping to elevate that song. And we'll also add you to our musician page where each artist is listed, and we'll have the cover of your song there and the information that they can buy it on iTunes and all. So I want to thank you so much for coming on. Yes, and we'll have to have you back, in some time and see what's up with you. It's like I'm just delighted with you and so happy that you came on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And for everyone, we're going to be going to our break, so stay with us, because when we come back, we're going to welcome Caragan Olles. She's 18 years old. She's actually at the University of Miami, and some time ago, we're going to find out when she and her brother Carter started up Bright Young Dyslexics, and it's a 501c3 nonprofit. So don't go away. We'll be back more with Kids for Love Project Radio Show.
Invite the Kids for Love Project, an enrichment program, into your school, classroom, or wellness center. Kids for Love Project is focused on teaching kids unconditional love for self and others. The project is a journey into self-discovery. It consists of fun, creative tools to learn self-love, like I choose love, I am love, I stand in love, and utilizing one's energies with reconnective healing and tuning into one's intuition for inner guidance, plus connecting to our natural surroundings. Kids who hold love for self do not bully or harm others. Let's cultivate a kinder world that holds compassion for all. Teaching the power of love to our kids is the way. To learn more or to bring Kids for Love Project to your school, contact Deborah Beauvais, 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or go to our Kids for Love Project on Facebook.
After narrowly surviving the attack on Sandy Hook Elementary, first grade teacher Caitlin Roy DeBellis was left searching for answers that would never come. Eventually, she chose to focus on questions that could be answered. How do I make sure this tragedy doesn't define us? How do we get our control back? Those two questions led her to found the 501c3 nonprofit organization Classes for Classes. When gifts poured into their classroom, she decided they would help someone else by paying it forward and being kind. This developed into a social network which allows K-8 classrooms to connect so that every student in the United States can learn these crucial lessons. Classes for Classes' mission is to build students' social-emotional intelligence by connecting them to care. All C4C projects are crowd-funded. Any teacher in the U.S. can visit classesforclasses.org. That's classes, the number 4, classes.org. Sign up today.
How can you make a difference on this crazy planet? Listen to nature-inspired stories and interviews with environmental educators for some new ideas. Sustainable Living News writer, nature walker, and youth educator Wendy Natterney-Fashon hosts the Story Walking Radio Hour to talk about issues that matter and to introduce you to people who are coming up with creative, sensible solutions. Let's engage with Earth, with Spirit, and with one another, heart to heart, to solve problems and co-create more meaningful life stories. Tune in to Nature's Loving Vibes every Monday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. here on the Dream Vision 7 Radio Network.
Kids for Love. It's a project, a mission, and a radio show, and it's on the Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come join Deborah Beauvais and young co-hosts every Wednesday at 4 p.m. and 4 a.m. Eastern to celebrate kids making a difference. We invite kids to share stories of those helping others, and teachers can share new school programs that are creating harmony amongst the kids. Let's raise the bar together and cultivate a kinder world. Kids for Love Project, celebrating kids who are helping others.
It's a child's job to play, to learn, and to have fun. It's an adult's job to keep them safe. Did you know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18? Every day, families enter the Children's Advocacy Center because a child's courage to tell someone what happened to them. Keeping our children safe starts with a conversation. This is Michelle Aranger, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center. Learn more on how to keep your child safe. Visit cacofbc.org. This message made possible by the Fall River Rotary Club.
What if everything we've experienced is but a pale image of what human life could become? It's now time to bring forward a new set of guidelines to live by, a vision of what human life was meant to be. The Second Genesis Awakening with your host, Deborah Bruin-Tout, singer, songwriter, and intuitive facilitator, will share insights and understandings interwoven with lots of stories from people just like you and I, who have longed for and begun this evolutionary shift of how life works.
Hi, I'm Deborah. Join me every Monday on DreamVision7Radio.com. The show airs at 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern Time. See you there.
Dsylexia is a U.S. nonprofit dedicated to the dream of ending childhood malnutrition for millions of children around the world. Through the manufacture of Plumpy Nut and other nutrient-rich, peanut-based ready-to-use foods, Dsylexia has already delivered life and hope to nearly 1 million children in over 26 developing countries. To find out how you can join Dsylexia dream of ending childhood malnutrition, please visit dsylexia.org.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Okay, we are back, and you're listening to the Kids for Love Project radio show. You can hear it on Wednesdays, 4 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as Saturdays, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I also wanted to just put out there to check out our book, our children's book, written by myself, Deborah Beauvais, and Janine Sullivan. It's called The Paper Doll Kids. It's all about 7, which is my favorite number. Paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds, bringing awareness to endangered animals. And all my grandchildren are in the book in some fashion. And then on top of it, we have a song, the Kids for Love song. And it's sung by 4 of the youngest grandchildren, kids just like yours. And it's really fun. It has a catchy tune, and you can find that on iTunes, Apple Music, obviously, and Amazon Music. You can pick it up and have it for yourself, much like Bella's song. You can listen to it on YouTube, but you can have your own copy by downloading, and you can get the book on Amazon. So without further ado, I welcome Caragan Olles. As mentioned, she's 18 years old these days, and her brother Carter co-founded and started Bright Young Dyslexics, which is brightyoungdyslexics.org. So my first question, and Caragan, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here today.
And I am, too, having you, Caragan. I love when people like yourself, kids like yourself, are really helping the world and teaching the adults how they can make a difference. It's amazing how what the kids are doing today. So first and foremost, what happened in your life, and when did you actually start the organization?
Yeah, so my brother and I, Carter, as you mentioned, founded Bright Young Dyslexics in March of 2013. We started this project. It was largely impacted by my struggles with dyslexia. I was diagnosed with dyslexia in 3rd grade, and after that diagnosis and then starting to go into my school and asking for accommodations and the tools I would need to succeed, we saw this lack of understanding and awareness for dyslexia, and we just kind of thought, how can we help this? How can we make a small difference in that?
Wow. And so back in 2013, when you were experiencing this, do you know if all schools are struggling with actually having the materials to help a child with dyslexia?
Yeah, many schools in our area. So we were founded in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and we serve all of Wisconsin. We noticed that there was, in many of our school systems, and a lot of them when we went into, we had parents and their children struggling to bring their dyslexia forward and get the accommodations they would need to succeed in the classroom. Phonics-based tutoring which is dyslexia tutoring, is not offered in most schools, and so it becomes a financial burden on the families because they have to go out of the school and pay money for it, and that is a big part of what we do with Bright Young Dyslexics. We raise money for K-12 dyslexic students so that they can have the funding for phonics-based tutoring that they need to succeed in the normal classroom setting. Wow.
Wow, and I have to say that you're extremely articulate with the way you're sharing this information, so you can tell that you know it well. So what did you do back when in 2013 for yourself? Were your parents actually paying for these services outside of school?
Yeah, so like I said, I was diagnosed with dyslexia in 3rd grade, but I actually was extremely fortunate that one of my kindergarten teachers noticed that I had some dyslexia tendencies, and she sent me to a dyslexia phonics-based tutor. And I was able to receive tutoring from kindergarten through 5th grade, and I am beyond grateful for that experience. And yes, it did come all out of my parents' pocket. And again, I am extremely fortunate to be able to receive that tutoring. And unfortunately, many families aren't. It also becomes an extreme time consumer for the child, and so that can be another reason that they are turned away from getting this necessary tutoring for their children. For me personally, I went about 3 times a week, all school year, all summer. There were a lot of tears involved, a lot of low self-esteem moments, but the abilities and knowledge that I have now to be able to read, write, and learn in an environment that's not necessarily cohesive to my brain, my dyslexic brain, I'm extremely grateful for. And so the going rate for dyslexia tutoring in our area in Green Bay right now is about $90 to, I think, $110 per hour. So like I said, 3 times per week, all school year, all summer, that cost adds up quickly, and that is just not something that many families can afford.
Yes, for sure. Well, if we can go back and explain dyslexia, as far as, because sometimes people get that misconstrued with AHDH or whatever it is, HD. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so dyslexia is technically characterized as a learning disability. However, we do not like to speak of it as a learning disability because there's so many more abilities that come with dyslexia. So dyslexic brains are physically, I like to say they're physically wired differently than someone without dyslexia. I had this cute little story that my mom was very smart to write down when I was little after I said it out loud. But I like to think of it as road construction. So, you're driving along a road and you hit a road construction sign and you take a detour to get to, but eventually you end up at the same spot. And that's how I like to describe dyslexia as in the process. It's not that dyslexics are any less capable than non-dyslexic learners. It's just that they learn in a different way and their brains need to be taught differently. So that's why phonics-based tutoring is heavy in phonics, also as well as multisensory learning and getting that information into dyslexic brains in different ways that's more cohesive to their learning and to benefit them. One of my favorite facts about dyslexia is to be diagnosed with dyslexia, you actually have to have at least an average IQ, if not above. And that kind of goes to dispute any theories about dyslexics that they may be dumb or stupid or not willing to do the work. A lot of times dyslexics are labeled as lazy or maybe they have some more like temperamental issues, but those often stem from not being taught in a way that works with their brains, and then therefore they, try and get out of the work and try and procrastinate a little more because it's much harder for them to do and they're not being taught in that correct way for them.
Well said. And so from what I've read that, and you touched upon it, is that many of the kids that experience dyslexia actually are overly bright. Have you found that too with your research?
Yes. It's important for dyslexics and for parents and teachers of dyslexics to be able to focus on some of those extracurricular activities because that's something that we see a lot of dyslexics excelling in sports, arts, music. Those kind of outlets of creativity is what really dyslexics tend to be good at. And which just goes to see the different thinking patterns that dyslexics have. I don't personally think, I'm thinking differently right now. But my brother has pointed out to me, my brother Carter is not dyslexic. He's just extremely supportive of me and my struggles and watching me go through what I had to go through and wanting to support other dyslexic children as well. But he'll sometimes bring up to me, he'll be like, I would have never thought of that. And it's just these little niche things that happen or creative thoughts and problem-solving techniques that makes dyslexics really unique. And I just hope that all dyslexics can understand how incredibly special and intelligent they are.
And they, from what I understand, that's going back to that creative piece, which is how we thrive on Earth. I would say that people like yourself have that ability to tap into their creativity even more so. So it's and maybe relating to it in a deeper way that can, again, make a difference. Wow. And it's, from what your information on your site is, that 1 in 5 children are struggling in the classroom with this in the year 2021, which is amazing because there should be more avenues and more opportunities to help kids in the classroom. So tell us, and I can't believe you're serving the whole state of Wisconsin. That's a lot. That's a big state. So tell us, what are some of the things, this funding, and then there's actually information that the schools can have for the schools to implement your plan. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so we raise money for K-12 dyslexic students to provide them with phonics-based funding for phonics-based tutoring, as well as assistive technology, and we're really open to anything else that the dyslexic needs. We try not to put a limit on. So if someone comes to us and they have this piece of technology that they find could be very beneficial in their learning, we want to make sure that they can have those opportunities and not be put any less far behind in their grade in learning. As far as school and teachers go, we do a lot of Dyslexia Simulations, which is about an hour and a half long process that simulates how dyslexia feels in the normal classroom setting. It creates a ton of empathy for dyslexics. Like I mentioned earlier with myself, dyslexics often experience a lot of low self-esteem because they're sitting in classrooms all day, they're struggling, they're trying twice as hard as many of the students in the class to just get that information. And this can lead to a lot of burnout at the end of the school day, as well as not wanting to pursue school long term. So this phonics-based tutoring is crucial to their success. We try and provide teachers with the ideas in which they can maybe alter their learning or alter their teaching a little bit to be more cohesive, adding in more multisensory, more creative outlets in different ways they can do that. We also like to share with them how much dyslexics can struggle in the classroom and ways they can really empower their students and make sure that they know that they are capable and they are worthy of everything that any other person is. Yeah.
Right. Wow. So these simulations that your organization is offering is really, to the schools, is really a key component to change the lives of all these kids.
Yes, we do a lot of teacher in services as well as simulations within the community that parents and teachers and anyone else involved can come and attend. And it really is an eye-opener for many as they sit down and do these various stations, how struggling and how these emotions that dyslexics may experience in the classroom. And it really makes a lot of teachers rethink the way that they're teaching and kind of be able to understand more and connect a little more with how their students with learning disabilities can feel and be able to make an environment that works for everyone in their class. It's a little, being in high school and middle school and then going into your own school and teaching your own teachers something is quite a different experience. It's never something that I thought I would be doing, but I've had a lot of great feedback from some teachers that I've been close with on how they hope that we can bring this to every teacher, and every teacher around the entire world can understand a little bit more about dyslexia.
Yes. Well said. So do you have a number of volunteers or staff that are helping you? Do you have chapters throughout Wisconsin? How is that working? Because, like I said earlier, it's a big state. That's a lot of schools. And if you want to take it further, there must be, share what you have in mind.
Yes. So we have always had a youth advisory board. It, as of now, consists of about 15 to 20 students from 7th grade through high school, many of which started out as my friends, trying to get them involved, and they were extremely supportive. I was very amazed how much support I got back from my friends and my classmates, which is awesome. But we also have a few other people. My mom is greatly involved now. She helps out a lot with some more administrative pieces, especially while Carter and I are going through school and then Carter's starting his career. It's definitely something that we've talked about a lot is we do not currently have any chapters in Wisconsin. However, we are in contact with about 12 different states and some students and families in that state, and we're trying to work with them to advance their dyslexia awareness programs and give them the tools that are necessary for them to be able to go into their schools and have these tough conversations with teachers and administrators, as well as we're in the process of branching out of Wisconsin and into all across the United States. That is my highest goal, would be to bring Bright Young Dyslexics into every state and then possibly into the entire world.
Wow. So going back to 2013, when you started your nonprofit, you were only 10 years old.
Yes. And if you told that little 10-year-old girl that she'd be doing a radio show today, she would have said, heck no.
And, I mean, so you must model and be proud of yourself, Caragan, you've used the gift, and, some people will say, well, maybe, what you've experienced with this dyslexia is not a gift, and yet I bet you see that as a gift at the age you are now. Do you, or am I just guessing?
No, I really do. It definitely took me a while to get here. Again, a lot of tears, a lot of struggles. I still see dyslexia is something that I will live with for my entire life, and it does hit me sometimes that a few struggles, especially within school, that I have. I'm like, it's like, yes, maybe I'm struggling on this project, but look at what I can do. Look at what else that I have done. And again, like I said, if you told that little 10-year-old girl that she would be public speaking and teaching her teachers and her community about dyslexia and sharing my personal struggles, I would not have believed you. I was not a very good public speaker. I had extreme anxiety. I did not want to do anything, even if it was a tiny presentation in front of my own class. I had no want to do anything with public speaking, and now it is one of my favorite things, and I love public speaking so much. I love sharing my story, sharing my struggles, and hoping that can then empower someone else, some other child or student with dyslexia, and be able to then have them focus on their strengths and their goals, and really for them to understand that they can achieve anything they put their mind to.
Absolutely. So you have found that inner strength and have actually found, that self-love for yourself, as well as Bella, which is quite impressive. So now that you're at, the University of Miami, are you doing, well, let me go back. Are you thankful for the tools that you have learned so that you can perform and be successful with your studies in college?
Yes, I'm extremely fortunate. Like I said, school-wise and learning-wise, I really owe it all to phonics-based tutoring. Without that, I would not be able to, quite frankly, just read or learn at all in this normal classroom setting a lot of times. And now that I'm here in Miami, obviously I'm not in Wisconsin anymore as of now, but it's really challenged me to work and look at how we can do things virtually and how we can do, especially with COVID and the whole pandemic thing too, how we can take some of these in-person events, make them virtual, and then be able to spread that across different states as well.
Exactly. And so let's talk about the COVID for a moment. For the kids that are at home learning in the hybrid situation and they're alone, they're not interacting with their friends in school, is that helping a kid with dyslexia, or is it harming them, and how does it affect their mental health being alone?
It's definitely harming and hindering their ability to grow. but before I touch in home learning, even learning in person when teachers and students are wearing masks, phonics has a lot to do with mouth movements and being able to form those mouth movements. And again, that multisensory learning, so speaking it, feeling it, touching it, and seeing it, a lot of that, those touch and seeing of how someone else's mouth moves is kind of being taken away and making it so much harder for dyslexics to be able to use those cues. And then going into home learning, kind of similar thing, right? When you're virtual and a child is staring at a Zoom camera instead of being in person, you lose that multi-sensory learning and being able to touch and feel and explore the world. For kids of all ages, this isn't just for young kids, but for middle schoolers, high schoolers, and college students as well. It's really putting a hinder on learning for dyslexics, which it's very hard to see at the moment. But I hope that we can be able to bounce back and get back to in-person learning soon.
Yes, yes. What's it like there at college? Are you spread out, but you're in class every day?
Yeah, I'm currently hybrid, so I have about half of my classes are online and half of my classes are in person, which is nice because we can go in person and be able to have a little more personal connection, which I miss personally.
Yes, and we all do. I mean, we are a species that thrive on touch, that thrive on interaction with the rest of the human race, and we all yearn for love. And as much as we find self-love for ourselves and always working on that, we need to interact with each other. We need to see people's faces. So yes, I'm trusting that this is the beginning of more freedom and more of interaction. But on the other side of the coin, the pandemic has actually touched us in a way where there's a lot of creativity. We have found that, or people with, like my daughters who all have the kids, they're spending, even though they're working and all of that, they're spending more quality time with the kids. And there's so many new ideas that are cropping up. Do you find that too? I mean, it's kind of like it's a duality where it's horrendous on one end of the spectrum, and yet there's so much goodness that's being developed from it.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope that dyslexics learning at home or learning hybrid right now can begin to focus on some of their more creative outlets and the things that maybe are more extracurricular type of things. However, I do very much still worry that when we go completely back to in-person learning, that dyslexic students will be behind. And I hope that we can, I hope that we can get them all the resources they need to keep on track and keep progressing forward, and not. I think of like the average learner being able to bounce back quickly and get back into the swing of things, but for dyslexics that may be a big hurdle for them, and I hope that teachers can understand that as well and be very willing to work with all of their students.
Yes, good point. And it feels promising that where there's more attention to the schools with this administration and with new development, new programs, new funding, that there's going to be more help for those that have, disabilities. Do you feel that hope?
I do, for sure, and that's one of the large aspects that we try and focus on is awareness and acceptance of dyslexia, because dyslexia can have such a harsh stigma around it that we are hoping to break through and then get schools and parents and teachers on board with us to further push those boundaries and make the school learning environment really cohesive for all learners and not just, one type of brain.
Exactly. Well said. So now people can go on your site, Bright Young Dyslexics, brightyoungdyslexics.org, just as it sounds, brightyoungdyslexics.org. They can donate. What do you need? How can people help? The people that are listening, whether it's today, next week, next year, what do you need, Caragan?
Yeah, so you can go to our website. We have our donate page as well as our get involved page if we have any interested volunteers in the state of Wisconsin, or if you're out of the state of Wisconsin, please reach out to us at our email, which is brightyoungdyslexics@gmail.com. If you have any questions, anything that we can, I'd love to sit down and talk with people, with teachers, with parents, with dyslexics themselves, and be able to work with people and really spread the awareness about dyslexia. So even though I may not personally be in your state right now, if you need something from me, if you want information from Bright Young Dyslexics at all, please don't hesitate to ask, as well as we have our Student Funding Award page on our website. We have applications, and we review them about 3 times a year. And again, currently only for Wisconsin students, but we hope to be branching out of that soon. But for phonics-based tutoring or anything else your dyslexic student may need.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and raising awareness and enlightening people with what you're doing. And I'd love to see that you're spreading the wonder to all of the states in this country and beyond, just as I'd love to see your dream come true. And these, these simulations, like you're saying, because of technology, this could be spread throughout easily. It would take some work as far as setting it all up, but I can see that being a piece of how to complement what you're doing personally and face-to-face. So I thank you so much for all your work and dedication, Caragan. I'm so impressed with what you've accomplished, along with Carter. And your parents must be so proud.
Yes, they are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and we'll stay in touch, and we'll have you back. I like to have, it might be years later, but you never know what you're up to and what you've done at that time. So thank you so much. And everyone out there, go on her site, brightyoungdyslexics.org, and it's a 501c3 nonprofit supporting K-12 through funding, tutoring, and assistive technology, and raising awareness, as we say. So everyone, thank you again, and bye for now.
Until the next time, Kids for Love Project challenges everyone to create a way of serving others in need. Whether it's a nonprofit or helping kids in your neighborhood, we can all make a difference. The gift received in giving of self heals everyone and everything on the planet. Let's unite and build a universal circle of kids, all making a difference for a brighter world. Kids for Love Project, celebrating kids that empower others. To learn more, go to our Kids for Love Project Facebook page.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.